What's up, everyone? Scout Army. This is Fuego Steve, bringing you another edition of NBA Today. Today is December 22nd, Friday. Hope y'all gonna have a good holiday coming up. As usual, joined by my partner in crime, Jaguar Lou. Lou, before you say hello, I want you to about last night, Lou. Taking down the qualifier. He came in second place in the $333 qualifier. Um, and it was close. He also won a satellite to the $700 qualifier. So Lou had a good night. Talk to me. What's up, Lou? And tell me a little bit about your lineup last night.
Yeah, so I had the money for the 333. Um Before the last game I was in 40th place. But when my lineup construction I was putting it together and we didn't have the news about Donovan Mitchell. So I when I had my perfect lineup, I liked Harrison over Mario Chalmers. So Mario Chalmers was I think 22% owned, and Harrison was 2% owned. And I had my value plays. I had the lineup that I liked, and then I was just left with Rodney Hood, which was my only really viable play. And I thought to myself, you know what? Mitchell isn't confirmed out yet. I could get Hood at great minimal ownership, great price, and we all know he can go off when he's the guy. But nobody knew, and with no late locks, that no one knew whether he would play or not, whether it was Mitchell or Hood. So I took a chance. My whole lineup did great. I avoided Miritich. My best plays. I'm looking it up right now. My best plays were um, the Ricky Rubio thing against San Antonio. I told you guys I liked. It was really just the Rodney Hood, the 37 points at 3.2 ownership, 3.2% ownership. And the other thing was once you got that Embiid news, if you got it late and you were paying attention, you could then lock in all these guys that you knew would do well. I have to credit you, Fuego. You told me to get on Saric, not Amir Johnson. Normally, I think GPP style, so I would go Amir Johnson, but I ended up going Love, Saric, Ibaka, Covington, LeBron James, Rodney Hood, Justin Holiday, Ricky Rubio, and Andrew Harrison. And I came in second place, and now tonight I have my DK $725 qualifier, which I'm excited for as well. But overall, it was a good night, and it
Which
was
you
really
won off a 30 some dollar ticket or 70 some dollar ticket. Yeah,
$35
exactly.
ticket.
So that's a good 20 to 20x with your ticket there. Lou's talked about it before, playing those satellites if you can't afford the fires, and as opposed to taking your chance at 1 in 10,000 in the low end qualifiers, you play a couple of these satellites and try to win a ticket to them, which is one way you can do it. I did that for baseball, nearly took down the qualifier. I won the satellite and then came in second in the qualifier. So good job last night, Lou. Like we always say, me and Lou are pretty transparent. We play who we talk about. There is times we do stuff just like Lou was talking about. We gotta watch this news. NBA. I think other sports are different. Like if you're football, yeah, you have to wait on news, but it's more locked in. I would say, and so we tout what we play, what we tout, and let's be honest. There's 9 players in our position, so when you see a lineup and there's 1 or 2 guys in there specifically mentioned in my article. Well, I can't list everyone in the article, and sometimes when you're tinkering, I love to tinkering, and you find something you like, or you find it late, or it just fits. There's certain guys I put in lineup who may go off that I didn't love. I'm not going to recommend playing, and I just happen to they fit my lineup. I take a chance, and it works out. Where I'd rather take a chance with my own money than
Well,
yours.
Fuego. The other thing is like one bit of news could change everything. So for like example, like I was on Joel Embiid yesterday if he was playing, but like as a GPP play, and I was actually going to consider playing him. But the minute he was out, I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't on Sukrick or Sarek or whatever. You told me to play him. I was on Johnson, but the minute he was out, I locked in Covington to every single one of my lineups. I mean, it scared the crap out of me when he went back to the locker room to whatever. I don't know what he did. He ran back to the locker room for like
he either had to take a shit or his shorts weren't fitting. That was the only two things, man.
Yeah, have you ever seen like Mike when little Bow Wow runs back to the locker room because he's got to go to the bathroom and he's got to change his shoes and stuff? That's what I felt like it was like. He goes back to the locker room and all my lineups had Covington, but I could not have been more sure about Covington with Embiid out. Sarek is also a great play whenever Embiid's out as well. Amir Johnson was valuable for sure, but it only really worked out with him if you played DeMar DeRozan. So, a little bit of news can really change your entire night's research. So, keep pressing.
And we like DeRozan, by the way, who went off last night. We mentioned him in the podcast.
He was the picture on my. I apologize, guys. I didn't get to update my article, but everything was pretty accurate up until Joel Embiid was out. So that's why nothing was really updated. But DeMar DeRozan had a great night, career night. He had
and a reminder, refresh that optimizer. You know, the optimizer that you run right now, like we're recording this pod at 2 p.m. It could be different at 6:30. You know, we always say it's NBA. The optimizer change when Embiid goes out. So you don't want to you want to keep running it, when you hear news, every time there's some big news. Follow me on Twitter, follow Scout DFS. One, I always say you can follow NBA Fantasy Labs NBA on Twitter. First to faster than RotoGrind, faster than I would ever be able to do it. So they're a good follow on Twitter. And then pay attention to Slack chat. Sign up for our Slack chat, guys. We're going to get this thing rolling. We're going to get it. You know, the advantage of Slack chat, and if you've never used it before, it's fairly easy. Put an app on your phone. Send us your email. Send it to support@Scout DFS. We will add you to the chat. I'm always updating in there. As soon as I hear a news, I'm updating in there. And you get the advantage of literally, if you're constructing a lineup and you have a question about your spot, you can ask me, you can ask Lou, you can ask Adam Ronis, you can ask the experts, and we will help you with your specific lineup. So it's opposed to us, me and Lou, just running through our favorite plays, and you kind of, next thing you know, you have 20 guys in your head, and you know what to do. Once you start constructing that lineup, get into Slack chat, especially that hour before lock. Ask us questions. We'll help you with your lineups. You know, you can even shoot your lineup in there. I can review it for you, tell you if I like it or I don't like it, or things like that. And so there's a real advantage. So let's get the Slack chat going. Again, support@scoutdfs.com. Send us your email, and I will add you to the Slack chat. Well, on to today. We got a decent 9-game slate. This is about the high end. I love it when it's under 10. So this is preferable. I don't like the 11 gamers. 9's even pushing it for me, but we'll deal with that. There's some guard. I'm starting my article, and I think nice news here. Gary Harris expected to play. That's great because I'm putting him in my write-up. That's good news. But I was going to say I'm writing Russell Westbrook in my article, and I don't even know what to say anymore. So I just put maybe I'll just him every time he plays, and because it's hard not to. He's been playing well. 57, 66, 45, 71. 4 games there. So twice he's gone over 66 FanDuel points. I like Westbrook. Are you going to roster Westbrook tonight, Lou?
No, I'm not. Tonight on FanDuel, in a couple high dollar competitions, and on DraftKings I am as well. I just see better plays. Tyler Johnson should be starting tonight. He's in another good spot, as well as Shabazz Napier at minimum price. Those are my 2 favorite point guards of the night.
They really bumped Johnson's price. I like him too, but man, he went from 45 to 6,000. Yes, it's because Dragic's not playing. They had a little jump on that, but normally you don't see that. Normally you'd say like he'd go to 54, and then and but he jumped the whole 1,500 up to 6,000, which to me he needs that 30 points, to get 5x, which he certainly, I think he had 38 FanDuel points last time out in 36 minutes, so he should get that 30 points at 6,000. And you mentioned Shabazz Napier. He's going to be lots of people's darling tonight. I think he's going to be super highly owned chalk. He's 3,700. Lillard is out, so Napier should be getting the start. Is that good chalk or bad chalk, Lou? What do you think?
I think there's no downside. I think that he gets 20 points, which is value.
Right.
So I'm eating a cookie. And then
that's right.
And then his upside, I think, is 40. And he's going up against the best DVP matchup against Jamal Murray. And I think you could pair him with CJ McCollum. You can fade him if you'd like. Right now, I have a lineup that I love. I have a lot of money left over, so I might even fade him. But I think at the very least, he hits value at 20 points.
Okay. Yeah, I do too. It's going to be a tough fade. I think the fade is more just for ownership. He's probably going to be 50% owned, which is a lot on a 9-game slate. Let me put a guess on it. Let me look at these prices here. While I'm thinking about his ownership, and we'll see. We'll play a little contest and see how close I get. But we got John Wall at 95, and then it drops down to 7,400. Lonzo Ball, Schroeder's questionable at 73. Bledsoe 7-2. I really like Kemba Walker at 7-2 going up against Milwaukee. And then Dinwiddie rounds out the $7,000 range. You paying for any of those guys?
Walker's in a good matchup, but his recent game logs are scaring me. But Michael Kidd-Gilchrist might not be in the game today. But if that's the case, that just makes me like Antetokounmpo more. There's a lot of value at the power forward position. So that's and like really good value. So that's where I'm getting my value today. So I have money to spend up, especially if I'm spending if I'm rostering Napier. But no, I wouldn't go Kemba Walker. I would consider Eric Bledsoe if I wasn't going Antetokounmpo. And then no, I'm staying away from Dinwiddie. I would probably invest in the 3 guys that are 6,900 6,400 and 6,300 all in a row. Peyton, Murray, and Rondo. If I didn't go Johnson, and Rivers as well. So that those 5 guys are probably my favorite plays in if I wasn't going up to to Tyler Johnson and Napier. It's the other guys in that range that I like. Jamal Murray is going up against Napier, a bench player. Elfrid Payton is going up against Rajon Rondo, horrible defense. And Rajon Rondo is going up against Elfrid Payton, which is taking on more offense with the lineup looking the way it is.
Yeah, looking at this as we're talking, it looks like I'm going to say relatively deep position today. I could even go Reggie Jackson at 5'4". We mentioned Tyler Johnson. These guys in that 6,000 range, Peyton, Murray, Rondo. Yeah, I mean, at first I was putting John Wall in my article only for his ceiling for GPPs. And Wall, when Wall puts up 40 points at 9.5, it's not enough for me. And that's what he's been doing. But he does, he had 53. Oh no, he was out for a while. So he's been out for a while. So I kind of like Wall for his ceiling, but it's a GPP play only. Yeah, this is interesting. I might go Johnson and Napier and pay up elsewhere. I might go Napier and Westbrook. Maybe Westbrook and Johnson. Tyler Johnson. Man, I just wish they would not have jumped his price that much. 5,500, I'd be loving it. I do still like him, but it's interesting.
Pay it.
Pay it. All right. Any love for Lonzo Ball?
No, because the game's in California.
And that's what he's not playing well in California.
No, it's not that. Remember, I can't believe this is a thing, but KCP is actually playing an away game tonight in California.
Oh, right. Oh, that's what you like KCP.
I like KCP, yeah. And I think it's funny that he can only play in California, but he's in Golden State or in San Francisco or Oakland or whatever.
Yeah, I saw that. Speaking of shooting guard, I like KCP as well at 5'5", going against Golden State. Like Lou just mentioned, he can't leave the state of California, but this one is in California, so he can play. What about Harden at the top, 12,000 with no Chris Paul? Chris Paul, I forgot to mention, is out, not playing tonight. So what about Harden? You gonna lock Harden in?
Harden's a good play, but I think I'd rather get the value at Eric Gordon at 5,400.
Yeah, I love it. Love Eric Gordon at 54. Obviously, Harden's got the ceiling, but Gordon's a great play at 5,400. Harden, when they're both in the game, Harden is more of that point guard role, and Gordon would be more of the shooting guard. What about your boy Bradley Beal at 8-4? Were you paying up for Beal, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Klay Thompson? You paying up for any of these guys? Or are you going to drop down, find some value?
My two shooting guards as of now are going to be Eric Gordon and CJ McCollum for sure.
All right. I like McCollum. McCollum's 6'9". He's one of the first ones I wrote up my write-up today going against Denver. See him projected at quite a bit of points tonight. I almost have to lock McCollum in. There's a lot of ways you can go on a 9-game slate. So a lot of it is gut feeling. It is if you have time to do more in-depth research, looking at DVPs, looking at matchups. But that's why I love watching the games. I got the NBA package, and I will watch games, and it can, you take the combination of your own eyesight with Optimizer. Let's take a look here while we're talking. Our optimizer actually has Napier, I think it's scoring 27.6 points. So I can't imagine that it's not going to lock him in when I hit optimizer. Exactly. It did exactly what I said. Napier and Westbrook. It locked in McCollum. Man, it's a pretty good lineup you can get when you play them. It gave me Nene also, who we're going to debate in a minute. So, all right, sounds like the only one that we really would pay up for would be Harden, because we would like to drop down to McCollum. Below McCollum, Gary Harris, who I just mentioned, is probable. Lou hit it right on the head yesterday, 2 days ago, 3 days ago with Embiid, and then I followed it up yesterday with saying, watch those probable stats when it comes to especially China dolls like Embiid. They're trying to protect him so much. He was probable for 2 days, and then he gets scratched. So I do like Gary Harris if he plays quite a bit going against Portland, one of the first DVPs recently against the position. You like Harris?
Yeah, I don't mind him. Gary Harris is very good. But I just think there's other plays. If you want me to mention a couple other plays, I don't mind.
Hit me.
I would stay away from Chris Middleton. In terms of shooting guards, I actually don't mind Will Barton as a GPP play off the bench. It's not that I don't like Harris. I do like him. He's going up against CJ McCollum. It's just I like with the uptick that CJ McCollum's going to see in shot attempts, assuming he makes most of them or some of them. I just like McCollum's value better.
Let me stop you for a second. Let's back up a quick step. In single entries, would you fade Shabazz just on ownership, or would you
no?
Go the reverse, just roll with the chalk?
Normally, I like to fade the chalk, but Shabazz is like, I think he has like a 30-point, 40-point upside, or like a realistic game. Like he's in a good matchup. And there's not many other people they can go to, and you can pair him with McCollum pretty nicely. I have other value, like for example, like I have a great lineup that I love, and I'm paying up for two guys that I really don't even want to pay up for. So I might take him out of there just to be contrarian, but see, like my two just.
And this is a good conversation that we're having here, because one of the biggest things in NBA is value, finding value, NBA. And when we're talking Shabazz Napier here, we're talking starting with minutes with upside. He only needs to hit 18.5 points to get 5x. Okay, we're not talking Amir Johnson value at 3,500 who might get you 18. Okay, we are at this point confident Napier is going to hit 18, probably more than 18, which we're looking now. If he gets to 3.7 times 7. If he gets to 26 points, that's 7x. He easily could do that. So this is what we call good value, good chalk, where here's you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't. If you don't play him and he gets that 27 points, you're not going to be able to win because people will be able to roster Westbrook. They'll be able to roster Kevin Durant because they played him. So when we talk fading just for ownership percentages, you're fading hoping something happens and he does not hit that value, because when you put him in there, you can get Harden, you can get Durant, you can get these guys in your lineup. So I'm agreeing with Lou that it is pretty good chalk tonight. And that if I'm rolling one, I'd probably have him. If I'm doing multiple, maybe I'll fade him in a couple. But I didn't mean to cut you off there, Lou. That's just what I was wanted to do a little education there. Who are some other shooting guards that you mentioned? What Wayne Ellington or Waiters for Miami? Which route you got? Would you go there?
No.
Roberson?
No. No. I don't like Waiters because he's probably going up against Wes Matthews, and I don't like Josh Richardson for that matter either. Maybe I like Richardson more.
I mean, it sounds like we're locking in Eric Gordon and maybe CJ McCollum and being done with it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this shooting guard position is tough. I might go up to James Harden, honestly. I'm in a position, like I said, where I'm paying up for two high-priced guys that I just don't like. All of my favorite plays on the day are relatively low. Shabazz Napier, Tyler Johnson, my favorite plays. CJ McCollum, I think, has massive upside, and he's only 6,900. Eric Gordon, I love at 54. And then I have Mike Scott at 5,000 at power forward that I love. So it's just like
if you're doing multi, you could do Harden in one, Gordon in another.
Yeah, but I'm not doing multi. That's the thing. I have two lineups tonight.
You're the audience. You're not the only one.
One on DK, one on FanDuel, and they're between the two of them, they're totaling $1,300 of So it's like this is tough. Like I might even hedge lineups, one on DraftKings, one on FanDuel.
Interesting. So those are shooting guards we like. We mentioned KCP. I do like KCP going against Golden State.
Lou Williams.
Yes.
Returning to Houston. Narrative.
Lou Williams returning to Houston. Narrative and his prices drop, which I like. He's not 8,000 anymore. He's down to 6,800.
Yeah, I like Lou Williams actually against Houston. Yeah, he. I don't think he had an amicable parting there, so I don't mind Lou Williams at 6,800 on FanDuel.
Yeah, sounds like I like the Miami guys a little bit more, but I'm just not sure they're going to make my lineups. Gordon,
I think Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is as safe as 30 points.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, think about it. He played Golden State his last game that he played at home with the Lakers. He had 36 points in 41 minutes. He just guarded Klay Thompson the whole time.
Yeah. Shooting guards, interesting. There was one DVP I was going to mention. Who's going against Houston? Clippers, right. Lou Williams, right. So, yes, that's the DVPs that we've been targeting recently. So Lou Williams is a good play. Interesting. Like, I feel strongly about all the plays we're giving at shooting guard. I didn't feel as strongly at point guard, so that's interesting. At small forward, we got Kevin Durant tonight. It's not a LeBron freak night; it's the freak and Durant night. It's usually LeBron and the freak are on the same slate, but tonight it's the freak and Durant. If you had to choose between one of those two, which one would you go?
The freak.
Okay. Why?
150%. Because Antetokounmpo is in a better matchup, and also the only guy that is expected to be able to guard him, which is Michael Kidd-Gilchrist typically, and he's listed as probable for Friday's game. He has a right shoulder injury, so I don't see that being I don't see that being a problem. I'm just double checking really quick. If it's Marvin Williams they have on him now, because if that's the case, I don't mind that either. Yeah, so they have Marvin Williams on Antetokounmpo, which really isn't that bad either. Marvin Williams is a good defender, but and then the other thing is Draymond Green is back for Golden State, so now you have another factor to the usage stat. So between those factors, and also like when you think about all the matchups that Milwaukee has, like John Henson has a bad matchup against Dwight Howard. Chris Middleton is not going to have an easy time against Michael Kidd Gilchrist. Dellavedova doesn't even score, but even if he, they'll probably put Batum on Bledsoe, or Batum will just be like a guy helping out everyone because he's a great defender. They're not just going to waste him on Dellavedova. And then Kemba Walker and Bledsoe should be a good matchup, but I don't expect major things out of either of them. So looking at Antetokounmpo's recent game logs and taking into account that Draymond Green is back tonight and Brandon Ingram isn't the worst defender, I would rather have the Greek Freak over Kevin Durant 100%.
Interesting. I think it's closer in my mind than yours, but great take there. Paul George, 84. I'm not playing tonight. He's just not hitting those ceilings. Ingram at 7,000 against Golden State. I just don't know if I want to pay the 7 for him. Otto Porter, I'm going to skip over. Then we get into some guys that I don't mind. Harrison Barnes, Jonathan Simmons, Trevor Reeves has been playing well. You mentioned Josh Richardson. I'm probably going to stay away from against Dallas. Do you like Barnes, Simmons, or Reeves tonight?
I like Simmons a ton. But guess what? I'm about to switch up everyone's opinions. The Lakers against small forwards over their last 5 are allowing massive DVPs. Massive.
So you like Durant? Yeah. 70.7 point FanDuel points the last 5.
70.7 FanDuel points over their last 5, which is 23.9 points over their.
And one of those games was against Golden State. And what did Durant do? He put up 71.
Yeah. So, yep. That's your answer to that question. I mean,
all right. So now you're back to even between the Freak and Durant. Either one's.
I'm almost even. I might run one of them. I might run Durant, and I don't know. I have to figure this out now.
Yeah, that's a massive. And I was gonna say let me look at who they played, and so I assume Durant was in there. They also played the Cavs, so they played LeBron in there too. But they also played the Rockets, the Knicks, and the Hornets, who have nobody special. So
yeah. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So high.
And they're the worst over the last 10, by the way, and they're the worst on the season.
And the other thing is I don't expect Clay to do much. Like I called Clay when we were on the podcast with Willie, and I was
did.
But I'm not on him tonight. Like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is rested, and I'm actually playing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. So Pope.
It was funny when Klay Thompson was going off in the first half. I was like, Lou freaking said this could be a ceiling game for him. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because he's just a matchup guy. Like, so now, like in a different situation, like he has a bad matchup tonight. So it's either going to be a Draymond night or a Durant night. And I think with those DVPs, you can do Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Durant and save that extra money and not go up to Antetokounmpo at 12,000. Compared to Kevin Durant, which is 11.5.
Yeah, I like pairing Durant and Simmons. Jonathan Simmons has been playing well. He's 6'5". I take it back. He had a bad game last time out, which should take some people off him. But before that, he was crushing
it. Jonathan Simmons is going up against Drew Holiday, and that's why I like him so much. He has a body advantage, a height and size. As well as the fact that Drew Holiday was leading those poor DVPs for the Pelicans at the shooting guard position. So I like Jonathan Simmons a lot at 6,500.
Lower end guys in the 5,000 range you can play. You could go MKG. It's no super upside though. Wilson Chandler, PJ Tucker. These are more punt plays. Evan Turner at 4-5. What about Torrey Craig? Would you go to him? People have been playing him recently. He's only 4,000 for Denver. He's put up 17, 22, and 21. So it's a punt play, but it, if he gets you 20 points, allows you to do some. Would you go back to? Would you go to Torrey Craig or any other low guys?
No, the minutes are there, but he has 37 minutes and 17 points. That's like something I don't want to get into.
Right. What about Evan Turner, 4-5?
I have no problem there. I tend to stick to my plays. So
I got you.
No. So like, if I'm going to give like a little variety in terms of small forward, I think you can go Brandon Ingram if you want. I love the Jonathan Simmons play. I can't say that enough. Josh Richardson has the better matchup between Josh Richardson and Deion Waiters. Josh Richardson should see more play there. If Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is out, that's the question. I guess you would see.
I see probable.
He's probable, but I guess you would see an uptick for other players because Dwayne Bacon, I'm not too thrilled with. Courtney Lee, I have no problem with if Avery Bradley's not in the lineup, which he's not. So I actually like Courtney Lee, especially since Cantor has a tough matchup and Porzingis wasn't really playing too well last night. So I don't mind Courtney Lee at 56. I would stay away from Alan Crabb. Actually, he's a GPP play, but value, no upside there. And Wilson Chandler, I guess, has some sort of a stable thing going with consistent minutes and somewhat high points. I mean, I don't know what's going on with him. But if you want 30 points and you're in that 4,700 range, I think you can get 30 points out of him in a Denver team that's a little stripped right now. And
he's put up 28 in 3 of his last 4. For sure.
And then Hazonia. I mean, if you want to go up to Hazonia, he has that high ceiling. I feel like I have to compare the stats, but Hazonia went 42, 6, 45, 14 in his last 4. Let's see if that correlates with Simmons. So in Simmons' last 4, he's a little more standard, actually. No, it has nothing to do with that. But I keep going Hazonia. I have no problem with that. I would stay away from Reggie Bullock. He was in the perfect spot the other night, and I had him, and he screwed me. And that's it. If you really want to go down to Dwayne Bacon at 35, no ceiling, no. That would only be if MKG is out, but I don't love it. I really just like locking in either a Antetokounmpo and Simmons or a Antetokounmpo and Durant. If you want to go crazy, doing both of the superstars there.
How about back to Jordan Mickey at 4,200 for Miami?
Jordan Mickey's a power forward. Weren't we still on small forwards?
You're right. I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah, no worries. No, I am on Jordan Mickey tonight. He's one of those 2 power forward plays that I'm on that gives me such lineup flexibility.
All right. So let's move on to power forward because we covered small forward pretty good. So Jordan Mickey, a punt play, value play at 4,200. Probably the lowest.
Mike Scott is my favorite play at 5,000. I mean, like,
wow.
you don't like Mike Scott? 28, 37, 29 minutes.
Yeah, it's just with Morris there. It's I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
If Otto Porter is out, then I like it better, kind of. But
minutes to go around, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's questionable for Friday's game, so we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, back to the top, we got Anthony Davis, 11-3. Ando, Porzingis, I'm not touching tonight, 9-5. I got to see him get right before I go back there. Draymond Green, I don't know if I'm going to do it. I think if I play one of those guys, it's going to be Durant. So that would drop me down to maybe a Rondae Hollis-Jefferson at 6'8", plus 6'8". I'm going to say the Tobias Harris whisperer says, yes, it is a Tobias Harris tonight going against the Knicks at 6'5". Porzingis has been banged up a little. Not a little. I mean, he has been. So I don't mind Harris on the other side of that ball there. Got some of the high-end power forwards. Are you rostering any of these guys up at the top end?
Well, first I'm locking in Mike Scott, I think. I'm not sure, but if not, Draymond is interesting. Rondé Hollis Jefferson is interesting. Kelly Olynyk is interesting. If you don't want to go the Mickey way. Kyle Kuzma has been throwing up some great games. I really want to roster Kyle Kuzma today. It scares me a little bit, but if you look at his last 5 games, 55, 37, 25, 33, 34, and his price is at 6,800. So you got to love that right there. And
you know what I love? They moved Randall to center, who we'll talk about when we get to the center spot. So Julius Randle, you don't have to choose between Randall and Kuzma anymore at the power forward. Kuzma, or Larry Nance. Larry Nance, though, at 5'1". Now that's
well, Larry Nance is going up against Draymond, so because Larry Nance will be starting, so you have to assume that Lance doesn't have the best game. Like, he had 20 minutes against Golden State in the last game, and he only had 17 points. Comparing to Kuzma, had 39 minutes against Golden State and had 37 points. So I like Kuzma tonight for sure at 6,800. The DVPs for the power forward dictate Tobias Harris will have a good night. It says the Knicks have been playing very poorly. That scares me just because the size difference between Porzingis and Tobias Harris. It says the Pelicans are allowing a lot of points to power forwards as well as the Magic. So the Tobias Harris would be the most favorable DVP. Hazonia is a small forward play. And then the Magic, Anthony Davis could be a viable play if you see that. But the thing is like the Vukovic Cousins thing is like the number one thing I have to figure out right now. Because one of these guys is going to go off, and we have to figure out who.
That's interesting. I am having a tough go figuring out this power forward position. There's not a lot of people I love. Davis is interesting for sure. He's got 4 straight 50 or over, but he hasn't hit that 60 in a bit. So that makes me a little bit nervous because of that price. That I would like to see some 60s in there. But I think he's got a 50-point floor. So he's viable. Ronnie Hollis Jefferson, I mentioned, I do like going against Washington at 6,800, and Harris. I'm gonna have to look at some of the other ones. John Henson, 5'5", possible versus Charlotte. If you wanted to punt, you could punt with the Charlotte guys, Marvin Williams or Frank Kaminsky, but they're pure punt plays. Don't at me if they don't do anything. When I say it's a punt play, it's they punt for a reason. But we did mention Jordan Mickey at 4'2". I don't mind him. But he's probably as low as I'm personally going to go, and I might stay. I might have to stay up to this higher to mid range. So I'm gonna. This is gonna be might be the last position, or my first position I start to try to figure out when we're done with this pod. And it's a weak position too. So I mean that's what also makes it harder. It's a little weak tonight. Normally power forward's pretty. It's not quite as weak. It's a lot of middling guys, which is why I like Harris, because he has that upside. Over to the center spot, you just mentioned DeMarcus Cousins and you mentioned Vukovic. They're the 2 highest priced at $11,000 and $9,900. Interesting matchup. You think one of them is going to go off? They're not going to cancel each other out?
Well, that's what I'm worried about. I'm trying to figure that out. My safest play, I think, just considering Nene Hilario isn't the best defender, would probably be DeAndre Jordan. He's priced up a little bit, but I think he's worth it tonight. Just to grab that safety. Cousins could definitely get Vukovic into foul trouble, in which case Cousins could have a crazy game. Vukovic could definitely contain Cousins, and it could be an Anthony Davis night, in which case you don't want either Vukovic or Cousins. I like DeAndre Jordan at that $8,200 range, and I think he can get you 50 points, and he has a nice floor of probably 40.
Interesting. I haven't looked hard at Jordan yet. I'm going to have to take a look at that, but you make a great point with Nene. Capella, questionable, probably not going to play, I think. So
well, yeah. By the way, that's only if Capella doesn't play. If you don't get that news, you don't play Jordan. But if Jordan's going up against Nede on a Houston team that's hobbled and should see a lot of bad shots, I think DeAndre Jordan gets like 20+ rebounds.
all right, let's talk about Drummond. Would you go back to Drummond versus the Knicks and Canner, who doesn't play great defense?
I love Drummond. I wanted to pay up for him. I think he has the highest upside of the night.
Oh, okay. Interesting. It's funny. We got Cousins, Vuk, and Drummond, and to a lesser extent, the Joker, some guys that we always like. So I prefer when there's guys, when there's only a couple of guys, when I say like, meaning I like as players and I like rostering, Cousins, Vuk, that's a tough call there. I mean, yeah, that's a tough call. I might go Vuk just for the savings, but that's interesting. Or you just say, okay, I'm going to go Drummond if you think he's got that ceiling. His game logs have been down a little recently, 29-31, but he did 51-55 before that. So, these Drummond's always a GPP play. Let's put it that way. We do a lot of talk about GPPs on here. We do mention cash plays as well. When we talk GPPs, we are looking for guys that can get those ceilings. And when we're talking value, we just want them to hit, say, 5X so we can roster guys that can get those 60, 70-point ceilings. To be honest with you, what do you got? 9 players times 45. That's what you would love everyone to hit 45 points. You'll win every GPP if you score 400 points on FanDuel most of the time. But you're really, you want to hit, 35 times 9. What's that? That's 315. That's not going to cash you. So it's really about 40 a player. At 360 is really going to get you cash a lot. You hope one guy gets the ceiling of 70 if you hit a value play for 20, and that's it. You're 90 total. One guy who I'd like, who mentioned, speaking of cash, I probably would play in cash, is Steven Adams at 6,600 going against Atlanta. Like, he doesn't have the super high ceilings, but I think he's going to have a decent floor tonight. And he does have the 40-point ceilings, which he put up 3 days ago. He put up 41. You like any love for Steven Adams going against Atlanta, who's not good against the center?
Yeah, I actually like Steven Adams. Atlanta comes in on some of the worst DVPs. The worst of the night is probably the Pelicans. The only team that's like actually really bad is the Timberwolves recently, but the Pelicans are pretty poor, as well as the Hawks. So I have no problem going Steven Adams for a safe play at a reasonable price. He doesn't have much of a ceiling, but he can get you that 40-point ceiling, like you said. I think the upside of the night is clearly Andre Drummond, though. If you can get up to him, it would be very beneficial. And I guess I would go as low as Nene. I mean, he's old and he's not going to get the minutes. He got 25 minutes the other day, but that would be a punt play for sure.
What about a guy mentioned who they moved over to center now on FanDuel, Julius Randle? He's 5,100 going against Golden State. I guess Brook Lopez is out, so does that mean Randle moves over to the 5?
Yeah,
I
have no problem with that. Let me see what the matchups are really quick. No, they have Bogut in with Kuzma going up against Green. See, the thing is, like, if Kuzma starts, I don't like Kuzma. This scares me a little bit.
Bogut's not going to get much run, though.
No, I know. It's not that. In this position, I like Randle the best out of all these guys, because I think the only reason Kuzma did so well in the last matchup they had was because he wasn't starting. Maybe Lance was. Larry Nance, that is. But I might like Julius Randle at 5,100. He could have a high ceiling tonight, although his last game he played 8 minutes, so I don't know what happened there.
Would you go to Gortat again at 45? He's hit 32, 26, 18, 37 his last 4. So 2 of his last 4, he's over 32 FanDuel points.
Yeah, I never mind Gortat. I mean, like, he's a good defender. He can get the blocks, especially on FanDuel, where blocks are a lot of money.
or a lot of points, 3 points there. I like him a lot. I wouldn't count on that 37-point upside, but I think he definitely is worth taking a look at.
I'm going to stay away from Bam Adebayo tonight. Dallas has some of the best DVPs versus centers recently and overall, I think. They're only the last 5, Dallas is only allowing 25 points to FanDuel centers. So that definitely would keep me off Adebayo. Nene punt play at 37, though that makes me nervous. I kind of like the Steven Adams and up. Like I think 66. We mentioned Randall and Gortat as possibilities, but for upside, I like 6,600 and above tonight. I'm going to stay up there. Nurkic, man, what a disappointment Nurkic's been this year. I mean, he just isn't getting those. I mean, we saw Nurkic put up huge games last year, and he's just not doing it this year. 23, 36, 21, 29, 35, 13. He had a 45 in there. He had a 65 exactly a month ago. He had a 65-point game, which I guess that is technically a ceiling, but they're just too far and few between for me to risk it with Nurkic tonight. I could get behind your DeAndre Jordan play for sure. All right. That was a pretty quick show. Let's do some recapping. Who you like at point guard again?
I'm all over Shabazz Napier and Tyler Johnson. I think it's worth it to pay up for Tyler Johnson. If you want to get off Napier and go against the grain, you can, or hedge lineup, you can go Jamal Murray. I have no problem with your John Wall play. I just think it gets ceilinged off at 50 points. I wouldn't go Lonzo Ball. Eric Bledsoe and Kemba Walker, you can go hedge lineups there. Elfrid Payton, Rondo are good plays as well. I think I like Rondo more than I like Payton.
All right, and I like Westbrook. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Westbrook's a great play. And just so you know, we didn't mention it too much, but Austin Rivers is also a great play if he's running the point tonight. Last night he had 29 minutes and 34 points. So,
all right. Some of the shooting guards we like: Eric Gordon, CJ McCollum, KCP, James Harden, Lou Williams. Any other shoot guard? I like Gary Harris. Any other shooting guards, Lou, that I missed there?
I like McCollum, KCP, Lou Williams, and Eric Gordon. That's what I'm narrowing it down to.
All right. Small forward. We both like Jonathan Simmons. We're debating between the Freak and Durant, which one, the DVPs versus for LA going against Durant has been bad. He put up 71 against them 2 games ago. Ingram, okay play. Simmons. Any other small forwards I'm missing?
Small forward, Simmons, Durant. I don't mind Hazonia. And you mentioned Craig as a punt. I don't love it. Yeah, I'm not getting too deep here.
You could probably punt PJ Tucker too, but yeah, I'm staying up there too.
Either Durant or Antetokounmpo for sure. There's value all over the place. If you don't have one of them, but Simmons is my favorite play there.
Yeah, I love Simmons. Power forward, I think it is a Tobias Harris night. Anthony Davis in play if you have the money. Just not sure I'm going to pull the trigger. Kuzma, Larry Nance for LA possibilities. Lou kind of likes Draymond. Who else you like? Anyone else a power forward? Lou, Ronnie, Hollis, Jefferson. This is the weakest position, I think. Jordan, Mickey, if you want to punt.
You know what I'm actually doing right now? I'm using the optimizer. Power forward's the one position I'm not completely sold on. So I'm going to use
I think it's the toughest one.
Yeah, because originally I liked Kuzma, but I'm a little scared if Kuzma starts. So I'm just plugging in all my favorite plays. And just to be clear, I have DeAndre Jordan, Simmons, McCollum, Caldwell Pope, Napier, Johnson, and then I have Durant. Let's see. And then I'm left with 5,800 per player. Let's see what the optimizer spits out.
There you go. And that's one way to use the optimizer. When people talk about optimizers, look, they're computers, all right? They do their best, but they're not watching the game. So, you hit optimize. It gives you a lineup that night. You have to use some of your brain a little bit too. But what Lou's talking about is a great way to use the optimizer when you love plays, when you have 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that you like, but you don't really not sure about the other 2. Plug 7 in and hit optimize. See what it gives you. Plug in 4 guys that you really like. See what it gives you, and then work around there. You can always X out if there's a guy you don't like, or you can trust it sometimes as well. And also make sure you know that if you can go in and edit the projections yourself. You can just click on that the little pencil thing, and if you think DeMarcus Cousins is going to get 65. And then optimize and then see what it does. So like right there, I just put in 65 for Cousins and he put him in my lineup. So that's one way you could mess with the optimizer. It's got a lot of good features there. Over to center, we're debating the Vuk Cousins thing. Both like Drummond. Lou's high on DeAndre Jordan. I like Steven Adams. We could punt with Randall or Gortat. Any final thoughts on the slate, Lou?
No, I'm just going to be doing research all day up until lock. I'll definitely be in the chat. And if you guys have any questions, shoot them over. I definitely want to take down this Q or this pickle. I'm in a lot of stuff tonight, so I will definitely be ready to go with the most updated information. And just direct message me or find us in the chat, and we'll be answering questions.
Yeah, put your notifications on between 6 and 7. I always have mine, so you guys can hit me all day. Hit the Slack chat, and even if we don't get back to you right away, it's in there. It's easy for us to see the question. We will get back to you, whether it's right away or not. If it's during the day, if we're busy other stuff. But I always have my notifications on. So if I'm sitting here, there's a question that pops up in Slack chat. I'll usually 99.9% of the time answer that question for you to the best of my ability. And get in there before lock. Get into there between 6 and 7 with late news. We'll be updating with late news. You can run your lineups by us. We'll tell you what we think. See what we like and what we don't. I apologize. I can't remember. I'm zoning on which sub asked me last night, but he asked Sark or Bach, and I said I like them both, but I guess go with Bach, and Sark was the choice. So I'm not always right, but we were on Sark, who blew up for 52. All right, that's gonna do it for NBA today. For Jaguar Lou, I'm Fuego Steve. Get that money. Peace.